Hi, it's Matt Moran with the IT Career Toolkit podcast. I think we're on episode number 19. And you'll see how I'm in my garage. We just finished moving a couple weeks ago and still haven't set up the home office. We're kind of getting the space all set up in there. So for the next week or so, maybe a little bit longer, I might be out here. I'm working just fine. See, I'm running the new Chrome deck in the background, checking it out. Might write a little bit about that, but this episode is really to talk to you about your mid-year assessment of how things are going. And right now we're coming into June, so good time to do this. It's really something I think you should do more often, probably 4 times a year, at least. And weekly you should be assessing as well. But I want to show you some of the tools that I end up using, and one in particular, to kind of keep track of ideas. One of the important things, one of the important techniques, I guess, for making sure you get as much done as possible is getting ideas out of your head onto paper so you can store them. You can't act on everything, and so a lot of times if you just have stuff that's sitting out there or on the top of the mind, it keeps coming up, but it's not something you're going to initiate right away. It's an idea for some future project you want to work on or a future initiative. You've got to take it and put it somewhere, and sometimes writing in a notebook's not the most effective way. I use notebooks pretty extensively. I've talked about that. But more importantly, what I end up using is an ongoing Google document that I typically keep open all the time. And I call this my planning document. And in it, I just have various notes in a bulleted format, and I put things here, and then I put links down here that I want to check out down the road. These are things that I haven't had time to look at, but I'll make notes in here. And from time to time I purge those. I get rid of them if they don't seem important. But this is a quick, easy way. If I keep this up and running all the time and I see a website I want to check out, I just drop it into this document. Or if I have an idea for a project, then I drop it into this and put it somewhere, whatever category it fits in. I've got several of them. It might be this podcast is one project, or a client project I'm working on. If I have an idea for that, I plug that in there. And this is prior to it getting moved onto an actual project task list. For my project task, I've shown this before, I use Google Calendar pretty extensively. And let's see here. I'm going to go to a week view. The tasks aren't showing up. Until I drop something onto the list, this is where it's going to go into the planning document. And so one of the things that I recommend people do is, as we're coming to the midway point, is assess those things that are on your list. And if you haven't started with a list, create one. The reason I use Google Documents is that it integrates with my Droid phone. That's an important factor. I want to have my information whether or not I'm at my computer. I don't necessarily want it stored on my computer, because once again, I may not have that with me at any given time. So using this planning document is a good way to do that. And if you haven't done so, start using some tool to track ideas and just don't overcomplicate it. I just use a simple bulleted list. That's the reason I use a document. I don't get into some some fancy project management software. I have other ways I manage tasks, but this is the way that I end up keeping track of things that I might want to do down the road, or I have ideas on and I want to add ideas to in a very simple and rapid fashion. So hopefully you find that helpful. Some things that are coming up. We have a couple exciting things. One of the reasons that I thought about this is this weekend I was kind of jotting down ideas about things we're going to be releasing. There's a few different. One is going to be starting a new podcast for the Songwriter Online. That's another website I have. I'll have a link to that. And as well as providing some coaching, both career coaching and coaching for musicians and social media, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a future episode as well. But most relevant to you guys is that we'll be providing some coaching, a couple different programs that we're going to offer, and those will be announced in the next week or so. I've been outlining those and working with some people on finding the best price point and how we're gonna work those. What that's going to mean is going to be group sessions, it's going to be one-on-one sessions, and really we're going to do a combination of both. So look forward to those announcements, and thanks for tuning in.